and welcome back to our Faces of Leadership series here with the Jayco family of companies. I'm your host, Hannah Gulahowski, and today with us we have our very own Nick Martin, the Vice President of Sales for Jayco Motorized and Towables, as well as Integra Coach. Nick, if you just want to start out with your name, title, how long you've been with Jayco.
So I'm Nick Martin, I'm the VP of Sales. I've been with Jayco as of this week, 8 years now.
Wow, yeah, congratulations, that's wonderful. And so can you tell me a little bit more about just your role and how you measure success within your role?
Yeah, so I oversee all the sales and product development aspects of our business. So generally that means we're to work with all the customer facing end of stuff, our customers being the dealer end of stuff. So on the sales side, our sales teams are obviously selling product to dealers, and also a bigger part of that is training and equipping their dealerships with what they need to be able to sell our product to end customers. And then on the product development side, we're really that same interaction with the dealer partners, getting feedback from them, filtering that information, filtering in customer information, and really evaluating the marketplace to make sure we're putting the things and driving our products where we need them to be to continue to have success. I think, how do you gauge success of that is, there's obviously a lot of specific checkpoints that you do on that. I think the way I try to think about it more generally is kind of check into, are we growing? And when I say are we growing for sales and product development, that is the actual, are we growing market share? Is Jayco growing market share out there? Are we pushing things that way? Given a market like this where it's down over what it's been in the last couple of years, we can't control the size of the market in terms of the economic aspects and things like that, but we can control how big our piece of the pie is. Of what the market size is. So growing market share is clearly something we check in on, and I'm really growing even from, are we growing as a team, and even probably more importantly than that, are our team members growing? So as a sales organization, like in our group, are we growing as a team in the way that we're doing things? Are we getting better every day? Are we finding better ways to do things, finding better ways to give good information to our dealers, to add things to the product? And then are our team members growing? Are our guys getting better? I think people have the habit of thinking growing in an organization can be, oh, I'm growing, I'm moving, I'm getting a promotion to the next
Switching
job,
titles, right?
But we don't have a lot of movement like that all the time within our segment of our business. So, but that doesn't mean everybody within it doesn't want to continue to grow and get better, myself included. So I think kind of as I look at it generally, are we growing in all aspects of what we do? People being most important, but then also our products and the things that we're putting out in the marketplace.
Yeah, 100%, absolutely. And so if you don't mind, I just want to take you back a little bit. So can you tell me just a little bit more how you got here just in the RV industry, and maybe then to Jayco and then to your position in leadership?
Yeah, so I got into the RV business like a lot of people I assume did, from growing up in the area. You have family members that work in some aspect of the RV business, and so out of high school, when I was going to college here locally, I worked at a factory for another manufacturer that one of my uncles was the plant manager of. So I used to go in at 4 o'clock in the morning and work till 10:30 or 11, and then I'd go to school the rest of the day and finish up my stuff there. So that was my kind of introduction into the RV space. And then after finishing up school and working a few more years in various positions at a different manufacturer, I got an opportunity to interview with Pat Carroll, who's our Director of Product Development in the Motorized Division, I think I actually interviewed for a purchasing job first with him, which I declined his offer, but I kept in touch with Pat, and then I had gotten an opportunity in November of 2015 to come on and be his assistant product director. So I did that. That was my entrance into Jayco, and then it kind of has been a moving target since then. So I've learned a lot of the product stuff there, and then I'd made a transition onto the sales side. And then with some of the leadership changes in 2017, Ken coming into Jayco and some of that stuff, I moved back to product development side in charge of all of our gas motor homes and the product development side there, and then transitioned into general manager over the motorized division, and then from there to where we are today. So.
Nice. Yeah. Well, it sounds like, humble beginnings. So, I think that's a great testament to just kind of what the RV, I don't know, I feel as somebody new here, I feel that the RV industry is really about just growth, like you said. So I think that's, a great backstory. So again, back with kind of the growth topic, what do you like most about working here at Jayco?
Oh, I mean, I think people think it's a little cheesy or a cop-out to say that it's the people.
Yeah.
I genuinely, my experience growing up, so you watch as a kid your parents and what their interactions were with their professions, and then go through early experiences and other jobs and places. I never knew you could work in a place, and I don't ever have the fret of getting in the car like, oh gosh, I gotta go into work today.
Yep.
And I gotta it doesn't ever feel like that, and I think that's a testament to the culture here and the people that work here. I get to work with a lot of people above me or with me that we're invested in and feel like are friends, and genuinely great, diverse group of people that I think make this place not feel like a job all the time. Right. Which so I think I'd have to say the people.
Yeah, absolutely. And so what kind of advice would you give somebody like me who is new to the industry? Like, what advice for, growth, how to get to that next level?
Yeah, I think one of the things, and I do it with any young people that come into the sales side of our business, the one thing I tell people is ask a lot of questions. So clearly that doesn't mean don't be working here 6 months and ask your boss every day what you're supposed to be doing.
Right.
But that's asking questions, and don't be afraid of what you don't know. There's so many times I see younger people come in, and some people take the path of, hey, I got to show them right away everything that I know, when all the really experienced people don't have that expectation.
Yeah.
They know you're not supposed to know, and you don't have the effect you want by taking that approach. The people I've seen have the most success, the quickest, adapting in an organization and getting to know it is they ask a lot of questions, and they're not afraid of the things they don't know, and to gain the understanding of things, right? There's a lot of things you can get told, okay, hey, no, do it this way, and leave it at that. But if you ask, okay, why did you do this, and go that way, and I think when I go back to the people that work here, we work in an environment too where the leaders that I interact with on all levels of the company, I don't think any of them are adverse to giving that kind of feedback, right? I think people also get that fear of, well, I don't want to bug them, I don't want to do this and that. So I tell you, that's the number one thing is don't be afraid to ask questions. I do it today. Like I'm blessed to work. I have as many people that have worked for me that have a third of the experience I have. I have the same amount that have 3 times the experience, and I'm not afraid to ask questions to those guys because they've seen more than I've seen. And there's certain things. It doesn't matter how smart you think you are or what you think you know. If you haven't been through it, and we have a lot of here at Jayco, especially in all different departments, the amount of people who've been here 30 years, 35 years, and plus is you won't see that at other places, and there's a lot of knowledge from people that have been through things before. And so I'd encourage anybody is just ask questions, learn the reasons why behind the things that you're being asked to do.
Absolutely.
It helps a lot.
Sure. And so I guess that kind of, bleeds into my next question. And would you say that same kind of theme goes with your leadership style? And, could you tell me a little bit more what that looks like, and it could be in a broader sense, or just, within your teams with sales?
I think, to me, when I think about what do I want to be in as a leader, or what, I think are some of the best traits of what I've seen in that, it boils down to a couple things for me. I think, one, I think good leaders are accountable, and two, I think good leaders are transparent, and I think I'd like to think that's what I strive to do as a leader here in my own role is, when I say transparent, is that doesn't mean every decision gets made in the public,
right.
But it also means I don't want to make decisions that I'm afraid to share them with the rest of the people that work in our organization. And that doesn't mean every time that everybody on the sales side is going to feel good about that. But if you're making decisions from a transparent aspect, what you end up doing is, you're doing what you feel is best for everybody that's a part of that organization. And I think accountability is something you learn sports growing up, or whatever your background was in any of that, and it translates to any good team is everybody's accountable not only for themselves, but they're accountable to the people they work with. And if you can foster that within a team, those teams strive and achieve greater things than they do when everybody's operating on their own island. Hey, I'm going to do my own thing. Especially when times get tough. I think when markets get tough and when challenges come your way, teams that are accountable to each other, and that starts with the leadership, they end up performing significantly better.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you had kind of talked about maybe times where decisions have to be made, and not everybody necessarily is together. It's not necessarily cohesive, but so is there a time where you had to make, kind of a tough, career decision, but it ended up being in your favor?
Yeah, I think there's some. I think back on one example, this is one that I ended up learning more lessons out of as a leader through it. I think of, we call it the COVID era of what we lived through for those couple of years. Right. And for people that were a part of that through the whole time, it was, at the time I would have been the general manager for the motorized division. March of 2019 was supposed to be, March of 20 would have been our, was supposed to be our largest month we were ever going to have as a division. Clearly, things changed drastically. And by the 23rd, we were shutting down production and doing things like that. Right. And by the end of the month, we were all at home for 6 or 7 weeks. Some point in that process, we had to make some hard decisions as a leadership team to, cancel some incoming motorized chassis and things that we had. That's something that we typically never would have done. But that time, the outlook was we had no idea who was going to want to buy an RV when we were going to allowed to be out of our houses. Then we were back to work within the next couple of weeks, and I remember going through some of our chassis numbers and stuff and kind of pulling up and like, I actually think we need some of those back. And so I happened to make it this, I still remember making the call again. I think it had to be Mother's Day because he was driving to Kentucky as his mom. And, I know you're going to think I'm crazy, but I do have all the information. I didn't want to just send it to you and prepping you. I do think we need to do it. You get that first reaction of what do you mean? We just did all this there, and you go through it, and we ended up working through that situation. Okay, let's try to get some of those back that we canceled, and we did, and thankfully that helped us get a little head start when everything kind of went crazy from there, and so it ended up working out for us. But then kind of also learned, as a leader, that all you can do is make the best decisions with the best information that you have in front of you at the time. So you can make two different decisions in the course of 2 weeks that were the right decision both times, and you can't not make the decision just for fear of looking like you changed your mind or that you were going that way. So ended up learning lessons in that take with me all the time in it. But that was one situation where it was a little out of left field, but ended up working for us. So
yeah, great. Well, thank you for all of your insight. But I will say, now that we're done with brass tacks things, what do you like to do for fun outside of the office?
Oh, that's probably evolved a lot the last couple of years. Typically, like to golf in the summers when I can, and hang out with friends and family. That has changed a lot over the last couple of years as my wife and I have welcomed our first two kids, and we have a 4-week-old son, Nash, and a 16-month-old son, Cannon. So it's been a interesting couple of years. So
absolutely.
That is my fun now, is chasing them around and trying to balance all that stuff and getting to figure out all that stuff on the fly a little bit.
Absolutely, yeah. No, and I was going to say, congratulations on your newest edition, and so I kind of want to wrap this up with, maybe you already kind of answered this, but how would you best describe, if there is, a balance that you kind of try to find between, being a father and just your work-life balance?
Yeah, I think it's interesting, and I'm a person who's a little prone to have that balance be out of whack and get a little buried in what I do here and get caught up in that stuff. But I'm lucky to work at a place and work for somebody that doesn't just want me to have that balance, expects me to have that balance. So there's a lot of understanding on that side, and nudging in the right direction from actually here at work to make sure I'm doing that, and then plus with a wife that's very understanding. And my parents said, they ask if Kelly and the 3 boys are coming over, so that's me being the third, so she helps balance a good bit of that there. But I think it's always a give and take in balance, and luckily my wife and I had a lot of years married before we added to our family in that way, so she has a good understanding of what all the job entails. So figuring it out on the fly, but I've got a lot of good people around me that push me into a good balance on it.